probably the most genuine human being I've ever been around, particularly in this profession. He's a man's man. He doesn't have an ego. He's not going to walk around with his nose in the clouds. He wants to roll his sleeves up and go to work. He cares about each and every person that's in this building, from the, All-American senior to the, walk-on freshman, the custodian, the people that, fix our kids' breakfast in the morning. He treats them all with respect, and that's what he demands of his assistant coaches. And it's an unbelievable work environment. I'm blessed to be here.
Do you have head coaching aspirations, and is a guy like Sam maybe a role model for you?
I've wanted to be like Coach Pippen in so many ways. The biggest aspiration I had was I want my players to feel about me one day the way I feel about him. What is my immediate goal? I want to be the best offensive line coach in the country. Coach Pittman, I think right now has walked in those shoes for quite some time, and I have an unbelievable opportunity now to evolve, to grow, to continue to get better, and I want to be renowned for the job that I do, coaching the offensive line. Would I like to be a head coach one day? Absolutely.
Yeah.
That'd be fantastic.
Well, Dabo was a receivers coach. Danny Ford was an O-line coach. It happens. It just doesn't. Everybody always wants to hire the high coordinator.
Sure.
Or something, even though the O-line coach is maybe the most important guy on the staff.
Coach Pitts had an unorthodox path, but I think that he can set a really, really cool precedent. So, what I mean?
It's no secret that Arkansas has had struggles on the O-line for maybe as long as 5 years now. You see Coach Pittman is the best O-line coach in the country. He picked you to turn this around. What is this challenge like for you?
I don't look at it as a challenge. I look at it as an opportunity. I mean, the bottom line is the biggest thing that we have to do to get this thing turned, in my opinion, is number one, we've got to establish a culture where our players are excited to play the game of football. And when you walk around and look at a place like this, and the facilities, the support, you wonder how it could have slipped into the way that it has. You know what I mean? And really, to me, it's a cultural deal. Having coached against Arkansas the last couple of years, it wasn't necessarily a talent issue or a talent deficit. What I observed as an opposing coach was a group of guys that, for whatever reason, they weren't fighting the way they should have. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
I felt like they weren't maximizing their potential, and quite frankly, that's the only way you give yourself a chance. You know what I mean? And so the biggest, a lot of people ask us about recruiting and all that stuff. The guys we signed, the biggest recruiting job we have yet to do is to win the hearts and minds of our players that are here now. And that's my number one mission right now, is to win our players over, to let them know how much I care about them, how much their success means to me. And ultimately, from there, then I can go demand and ask that they go out and be great.
What would you say about it? Maybe go down about each year, all offensive line signings, I guess, like Ray Curry first.
Sure.
I know you recruited him to Mizzou. What would you say about him?
I love his length and size. I think one of the biggest attributes he has and possesses is toughness. I think he's a really tough kid, and getting to know he and his family, his dad, Ray Sr., has prepared him for this moment. He's going to come to college and he's going to excel, and I think a lot of it has to do not only with his talent but his upbringing. He's excited. I'm excited to coach him.
And then Marcus Henderson.
I think Marcus really athletically can do it all. I think he can play really all 5 positions with his talent level. It's been great watching his evolution. He's changed his body. He probably lost somewhere between 35, 40 pounds between his end of his sophomore year and now. I think he has a high ceiling of where he can be. He's got explosive power, and he plays really, really hard, which is a huge plus for me.
And then Jalen St. John, what would you say about him?
Jalen probably right now is the most SEC ready guy because of his frame. I mean, he probably walks around at 330, 335, somewhere in that range.
Okay, so he's listed 310. He's a little bigger than that.
Well, I'm listed at 310 too.
Okay.
You look at my driver's license, I think it's a straight up lie. You know what I mean?
Me too.
He's probably the most SEC ready with his build.
Yeah.
He played tackle in high school. I'd like to start him out there and see where he can add depth, perhaps in the on the edge. If not, he certainly can play inside. But he has the girth and the size that Coach Pittman and myself like with the guys up front. Coach Pittman's O-line at Georgia was somewhere. They averaged somewhere between 320 and 330. I had the same at Missouri. Our guys here are a little bit lighter than that. I'd like to eventually get body types that big.